two quick examples of me. A long time ago, I was on a cruise with my family, and they said, oh, we can go snorkeling together. Well, I decided let's go snorkeling. I had two young ladies in my family. I convinced them to go snorkeling. Now, I know how to swim a little bit, but I had never been in the ocean before. So when I saw snorkeling, I had this vision in my head of people just putting goggles on and walking out walking off the sand and just dipping their head under the water and see fish. So I convinced them, they couldn't swim, but I convinced them to come, let's go snorkeling. So we get in this little boat, and I'm thinking they're going to take us like to a different part of the shore. But we start heading out deep into the ocean. So I'm like, where the hell are we going? And we get about 3 miles out into the ocean. They're like, all right, everybody out. Well, everybody out where? I'm also from North. I know people say, don't go on vacation and be the idiot that drowned. I did not know what snorkeling was. So he says everybody out. I kind of manned up. I was like, all right, I convinced them to come. So I'm terrified. In my head, all I see is Jaws. I'm thinking like, the water, but I didn't realize that 3 miles out to the ocean, the water is still about, this deep. So this is the floor, the ocean floor. So the water, you would think that it's like the deep abyss. It's really not as deep as you thought. So I went through that event. I was terrified, but I forced myself to do it, and it was cool. I went on another trip, and I was like, okay, I think I got the hang of this. So we had like these little helmet diving things. And I went helmet diving, and there was a challenge with that too. I don't have time to explain that. But my point is, I fought myself to kind of go through those things. Fast forward to 6 months into dating my wife, I went to a trip to Jamaica with her friends. And we were out snorkeling. Now, mind you, this is something I'm comfortable with now. At one point, I was terrified, but now I'm good. And I'm glad, because now I can show off with my wife. Like, I got you, stay near me. There was about 15 of us out there. One of her friends began to drown. Now, I had swam all the way to my wife, and I was just messing with this Angie. I was like, Angie, you good? She was like, I'm good, I'm good. I swim all the way to my wife, like, all right, now I'm about to start flirting again. And then my wife was like, go save Angie. And I'm like, I just left Angie, what are you talking about? And I turned around, Angie's like, so I do this little Baywatch thing, and I swim all the way. And I saved Angie. As a matter of fact, the captain of the ship jumped in with all his clothes on. That's how serious it was. So we both saved Angie. My point is, if I didn't face that fear back then, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to impress your girlfriend, there's nothing like saving her friend in front of 15 other friends. I was it. So I say that if you're going through something, instead of, again, it goes back to what meaning are you giving? If you're going through something, just realize that it's preparing you for something. Don't look at it as, oh, I'm stuck here. Just look at it as it's preparing you for something. Now, the last thing I'll give you guys, I'm full of stories, but I really want to share this one. I probably have 5 minutes. I was on a cruise. I'm always on a cruise or something, right? I was on a cruise, and the ship started to shake. Now, this is a cruise that holds 3,000 people, 3,000 rooms. So, the cruise starts to shake. You're like, all right, come on now, like, what's happening? And we noticed the ship started to turn around. And we turned around, and after a while, we saw the little boat go out to save somebody. And we were like, what? We saw this little piece of little white thing sticking out the water. And we were like, everybody's hovering around like, what's going on? And they bring these 4 guys back on the little ship. And we happened to know somebody on the cruise, and they kind of gave us the backstory of what happened, because, they didn't tell us everything. So what happened was these 4 guys were in Honduras on a ship, on a boat. And there was a big storm, and their ship got capsized. And so they spent 11 days in the ocean on a piece of the boat about this size. 11 days in the ocean. And in this part of the ocean, the average shark size is about 16 feet. They said at nighttime, they would have to take their t-shirts off and dip it in the water, because the fish would nibble at their feet at night. They were trying to catch fish to eat, because they didn't know how long they were going to be in the ocean. They said at night they would have to drink the rainwater when it rained, because you can't drink salt water because you're done. And so they wanted to give up. As a matter of fact, there were plenty of times they saw other cruise ships, because they follow the same paths. They saw other cruise ships pass by, and they would try to flag them down, but you're on a little piece of boat, and this cruise ship is like the size of a building. They're not going to see you way out in the ocean. Do you want to know how they were found? Do you want to know how they were found? Yes. First of all, every now and then one of them wanted to give up. But here's what I'm not making this up. They wanted to give up, but the others would say, hey, listen, because this is Honduras, so their families rely on them to fish. They're saying, listen, we got to get back to our families. You can't give up. And even one of them couldn't swim, so that when that one that couldn't swim was in the water, the other two had to hold him up while the other one rests on that little piece of boat. This is 11 days in the ocean. One of them had a little wristwatch on. And I don't know if you see Titanic where they had the guy looking out with the binoculars. Yeah. On our cruise, they just happened to always look out, and somebody caught a glare of the sun on his watch. And then they went to grab the binoculars, and they saved him. But my point in saying that is these four gentlemen had a why, something strong enough to help them look past where they were right now. Last story I'll give you. My wife and I, we were set to have twins at one point. And we went to the doctor. They gave us the ultrasounds and everything. And every time we went to get an ultrasound, they showed the two babies. And they did it. They're like, oh, you guys are going to have twins and blah, blah, blah. So we're preparing to have twins. We're telling everybody we're going to have twins. So we got all these ultrasounds to prove that we're having twins. One day we walk into the doctor, and the doctor says, so because there's only one heartbeat, what we're going to do is, and I said, whoa. What do you mean there's only one heartbeat? What are you talking about? He said, well, it says here on your chart that, there's only one heartbeat, so your guys are not having twins anymore. I said, but we just left here 2 weeks ago, and everything was fine. Like, when did that happen? Oh, it says here on your chart. I said, but we got ultrasounds showing that that you guys had two babies. What are you talking about? He said, well, maybe you heard what you wanted to hear. My wife is from the Bronx. When he said that, I was just prepared for But the reason why I say that is because, I tell the story, I don't even know what happened, to be honest with you. Because we left the appointment, we had twins, we come back, that means somehow when we left that appointment, somehow they figured out that there was only one heartbeat left, but I guess they never told us. They gave us I don't know, they said they got that twin. So, I didn't know how my wife was going to, I don't know how a woman would take losing a child, even if it's in the early, I just don't know how, I'm not a woman, so I don't know how. So I tried my best to think, well, what should I say? So, the part of the day goes by because we had to kind of I had to drop her off, and, all day I'm thinking, like, what can I say to my wife? Like, I don't even know what to say. And in my mind, my father always told me, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, there's absolutely no reason to stress over it.
That's right.
Far too many of us are going to our graves stressing over things we can't even change. So that was the mentality I had. I went to my wife later on in the day, and I was preparing for the worst. I thought she was going to just, break down, which she kind of did. But her response to me, even though I didn't tell her what I was thinking, her response was the exact same thing. I said, well, babe, we need to focus on the blessing that's still here, not what was lost, because we can't do anything about it. And I'm just giving you that example because I want to show you one last thing. It's because when you're going through something, the only way to get through it is to see ahead. Far too many of us take our past or what's going on and we sit in it. You know what we saw when that doctor said that? That's what we saw. We had to figure out. We had to figure out how to not sit in where we were and imagine our now 4-month-old. Because that could drive some wedges in between a relationship. But it didn't with ours. So the last thing I'll leave you with, again, is if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, there's absolutely no reason to stress over it. Because, again, luck is not some mystical energy that dances around the universe, randomly bestowing people with satisfaction and joy. You have to create your own luck. And so with this goal-setting event, I'm proud of you because that's exactly what you're doing. You're working hard to create your own luck. Thank you very much.